What is going on this terrific Super Sunday? How are we doing, everybody? I'm so thankful for all my listeners on here. I know Thanksgiving's over. I just want to give thanks this week to all my listeners, to everybody that chimes in, that views my videos. I greatly appreciate it, leaves comments, all that stuff. So, what a crazy weekend in college football. I got NFL right now. I'm recording this while I got the Viking-Cardinal game going on. I got the Colts game going on. My Raiders played on Friday. I already got into how I felt about that. It is what it is. I'm already looking forward ahead to the draft. Congrats to the Chiefs. They're a great organization, but I feel like I'm seeing the Patriots 2.0 in that. But crazy weekend in college football. Rivalry week. It's so cool to see all the pageantry, everything about college football that I love, and I still love the pros. It's just great. And I wanted to get into some stuff. Ohio State. What a letdown by that was at home. And the fans, the way they handled that was just with such utter douchebaggery. That's what happens when you've been spoiled for 20 years. And shout out to my boy Derek Solmonson, my buddy. I love you. You guys deserve that win yesterday. Was ugly as hell. But, you know, that's what happens in college football. Upsets happen all the time at every level in football. When you think the most talented team, the best team wins, just kind of doesn't go your way. So congrats to Michigan. On a kind of a down year for them, getting that win, and I'm happy for that program. And Ohio State fans, grow up, be better. Come on, man. Like, you've been spoiled my whole life and your whole life with greatness, and you've got natties and all that. So I wanted to start off. There was two games I wanted to touch on first, and then I wanted to touch on the rivalry stuff and just some of the stuff I saw last night that really kind of hit me and just kind of didn't sit well with me last night. Kind of some douchebaggery going on, planting the flags and all that. I just have no time for it, so I'll get into that in a second down the road. But I want to start off. I know I've been talking a lot about Miami, Florida lately because of my guy, the guy I love, Cam Ward, who put on an absolute clinic yesterday, but whose defense let him down yesterday. And so I watched bits and pieces of that game yesterday, and then I watched the full highlights, the 18 minutes to this morning on my walk, like I always do with Miami games. And I don't think this is a playoff team for me. I know they're 10-2, and they'll still get in, but they feel fraudulent to me after watching yesterday. And I say fraudulent because of their defense. I don't think it's because of their offense. Their offense can move. They ran 120 yards yesterday. They can throw it. They can run it. I sometimes wish they were more drop back in their center more instead of being in the gun. But I think it's a little bit of balance I saw today. I know Mike Lombardi bitches about it on one of my podcasts. He's tired of all these teams going in shotgun and, 3rd and 1. That I understand. I get it. I'm in that old school kind of mentality. I'm new school, but I got a lot of old school in me. And I do miss that. And I see that with the Lions, and I see that with different teams, the Ravens. And I miss that kind of vibe with offensive football. And I think the game's gotten away from that, although I do think it's making a comeback, but we'll see. Their defense is a nosebleed. I mean, yesterday, and listen, Kyle McCord maybe needed a new start because Syracuse at him there, I don't know, it might be a second, third round pick. He looks good to me. Deep ball, accuracy, touch, putting it right on the money for his guys. They got some tall guys there at Syracuse. Maybe they got the basketball team playing. I don't know. But they look good yesterday. And what a win by the program. Syracuse, who's had some down years. They were great with Dino Babers with that high-flying offense and then kind of went away. More of Jim Boeheim and the basketball thing. And then finally that. Good for them. They got the win yesterday. They deserved it. But back to Miami, I'm so impressed with Cam Ward. And I said last year, most people know, I was a Penix guy. I saw him at the Combine. I loved him. I watched all of his games last year. I tracked him down, read some bio on him, great family life and all that stuff. Because that's kind of like my research kind of nerdiness. I like to get into these kids, see where they grew up. And Cam Ward, I know he's bounced around. He's a late bloomer. But, man, yesterday he really showed me maturity from a quarterback. Took the snap, surveyed, didn't like what he saw, went to his last read on the progression, got it down on the check down. Instead of big play hunting, which he's got a live arm and he can do that, no question. But I liked what I saw yesterday, the maturation, the growth of Cam Ward in terms of just slicing and dicing, death by 1,000 cuts, and then ding-dong, ding-dong, ding-a-ding-dong, and then take your shot down the field. Great job by Miami's offense yesterday and Cristobal, obviously. But when you have 8 penalties yesterday and you're not very good on defense, you kind of lose the game. And that's what happened to Miami yesterday. And good for Syracuse. I'm happy for them. Miami, kind of a little fraudulent, 10-2, but still a really good football team on offense, and defensively, they got their issues, obviously, with their much maligned pass defense. And then the last play of the game yesterday, that guy pushing the center back, Bush League, stupid. Not very smart in that situation, because if you got him off the field, then you get the ball back, but then you give Syracuse a new fresh start of life and ice the game with an end around on the receiver reverse, and the game's over. So, sorry for Miami. I feel bad. I'm glad you guys are great again. They should never have sucked for so long, but I'm glad they're good again. We'll see next year if they have another replacement for Cam Ward, if they got a new quarterback in there that can replicate the same kind of magic that Cam Ward had. Maybe it's just perfect year. I'm not sure, but it was cool seeing that yesterday. One of the craziest games I've seen in my lifetime was Georgia Tech versus Georgia. Georgia. And Annabeth, I'm talking to you, my cousin's soon-to-be wife. I know you're a Georgia alum. That must have been great for you yesterday. And all my Georgia people, Troy, who I follow on here, obviously, I know at the gym. Huge Georgia fan. Probably the biggest Georgia fan I know outside of my cousin's wife, Annabeth. I want to give a shout-out there. But wacky game. Back and forth. I was watching my walk this morning. I saw bits and pieces of it, but I needed to see the full thing. And just what an incredible game that was. I mean, back and forth, had every component to it. Georgia Tech looked like it was leaning on them. I couldn't believe how physical Georgia Tech was, especially against Georgia's defense, which puts all these NFL guys in the league. Incredible work by that coach, Brent King, I believe is his name. Done a really good job with that program. Georgia Tech's had players for years. Paul Johnson was a good coach for them, had the triple option offense that you couldn't stop. And that Haynes King kid, I don't know if he's a pro quarterback, but he feels like a really good college quarterback. And they were just going up and down the field last night. And that felt like an awesome game. The atmosphere, the vibe, rivalry week, it just felt big. And Carson Beck, listen, last night he showed he's got an arm. And listen, he's not going to go first round anymore, I don't believe. But if he gets second round, some team will fall in love with him. And if you can clean up some of the stuff, the turnovers and all that. But here's my take on the turnover thing. And I heard this Thursday night. I was talking to my dad about this. Is that, we all bitch about Jordan Love and his turnovers. Oh, my God, turnovers. Oh, my God. Here's my take. Like last year, he threw 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Yeah, I'll take that all day. Now, he's got to clean up the interceptions. No question, some of those interceptions aren't your fault, whatever. But I'm all for that. And Matt Stafford, I can tell you, his 2011 stats was 64.4% completion percentage, 5,097 yards passing, 41 touchdowns, 16 picks, 97.4 quarterback rating. I don't know how I remember that, but I just do. Mine's just mind of its own when it comes to football. Eat, sleep, breathe, football, repeat. But that year, he threw picks, and I don't care because he put 41 touchdowns up. That's my thing with all these gunslingery quarterbacks. Can you matriculate the ball down the field, go to your checkdowns, and are you stupid with the football? Are you careless with it? Okay. Push the ball down the field. I appreciate that. So you can be efficient 45 all day, like Aaron Rodgers. But I want guys who kind of have some risk taker in them, like a Favre, like Jordan Love, like Matt Stafford. I like those kind of guys. And I watched yesterday Carson Beck, and he's got a little bit of that in him. I see it. And if he falls second round, kind of like Will Levis a couple years ago, ballyhooed out of high school. Now, again, he just stayed at Georgia and suck it up, unlike Will Levis, who I still love. I got some faith in him. But, left because the going got tough, and I think that's how this generation is, just a bunch of candy asses that can't take any hard criticism. But that's besides the point. I don't want to get into parenting and all that nonsense. But very impressed with Carson Beck last night. He's been getting better last few weeks. That Nate Frazier guy, he's going to be the next great Georgia running back, I feel like. I don't know if he's on that Herschel Walker, Todd Gurley, all those guys that came before him. But he's in there. I mean, he's got the power, the speed, all that stuff with him. And I just got to give credit where credit's due. Kirby Smart. He's an excellent football coach. And last night, never lost their composure. Team kept fighting. It's a rivalry game. You throw records out the window. And I just thought it was an incredible game. Remarkable job. It's on my bucket list to go down to a lot of those SEC stadiums and see a game at night. Baton Rouge, Death Valley, and Georgia, and all those teams. So I just credit out to them. And great win for Georgia. Heartbreaking loss for Georgia Tech, obviously, losing 8 overtimes and play your heart out. But you just still got to give your tip of your cap to that season. They had a really good year this year. Despite, some stuff. They beat Florida State at the beginning of the year. over in Dublin, which was a very, very cool scene. I got my Irish in me. Lucky the Irish. But you can't say the season was a letdown for Georgia Tech. You beat Florida State. You upset them in Ireland, like I just mentioned. And then you kept it close with Georgia last night. And, I heard the SEC championship game is Georgia-Texas. Let's go. I'm all in. That's big boy. Let's go. I'm hype. And I'll give you guys my, reaction to that down the road. But what a great win by Georgia. And heartbreaker for Georgia Tech, but what a great win. So the other thing I wanted to touch on, and I know it's rivalry week. I've already touched on the Miami-Syracuse game. I thought I was forgetting something for a second. I was tripping, but I already mentioned that game and at the top. And then I mentioned the Georgia Tech-Georgia game, which I watched this morning. Saw a lot of bad behavior this weekend. And I know it's rivalry week. I get it. Emotions high. We're men. Ego, testosterone. I got it. I understand it. But there comes a point in time where you got to be a man. And you got to be mature and buttoned up. And planting the flag and all that stuff, it's just Bush League. It's beneath you guys. Fuck around, you're going to find out. I get it. Maybe it was to kind of, like Ohio State, I'll start with Michigan, and I'll go down the list here. Michigan, I feel like, didn't get any respect. I understand it. Rivalry game, got it. But I still didn't love that. You could have just done what you did, got off the field, left. You won a shitty game. Cool. Okay? Don't do that again. Because it felt to me like Baker Mayfield, Ohio State, or Oklahoma doing that to Ohio State. And then next year, they play each other in the league. And what does Baker do? What does Bosa do? He does the plants the flag thing. Mocks Baker. So, fuck around. You're going to find out. Stupid shit, stupid prizes. I say it all the time. So, that's what I'm saying. Now, I saw NC State last night do the same shit against North Carolina. In-state rivalry, I get it. You can't do that. That is Bush League, beneath it. It's just dumb. And it's embarrassing to the program, the school, everything else. You got to be a better sport than that. I'm sorry, but come on. And then I saw it against Texas and Texas A&M last night. Now, that wasn't a plant the flag kind of thing. I think it was just two guys. What I saw was just two guys going at it, pushing each other. That happens. That's a brawl. I hate that. Now, this isn't as bad. The worst I've ever seen was 4 years ago, Mike Leach, who's, RIP, by the way, legendary guy. And kind of a quirky, odd personality. But he revolutionized football with the air raid and all that. I give him credit. But there was a brawl between Tulsa and Mississippi State when he coached there. I think it was 2020. And he's sitting up in the stands taking selfies. Like, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. And I'm telling you, I don't know what is going on with these programs, but you got to do a deep dive in this. Because I don't know if it's NIL, and I've heard some rumors, maybe it's NIL and all this stuff. I don't know what it is, but it's a bad look. And you got to be better. And going forward with these programs, I watched a shit ton of it yesterday. And then Florida doing that to Florida State. What an absolute douchebaggery kind of thing. And I like Billy Napier a lot. And I think if I'm looking at stocks going forward, I'm buying a little bit of Florida stock because that DJ Layway kid is a star. He's a stud. He's 6'4", 233. He did that thing where he moved and quick-armed it. I mean, through the arm angle, through everything. He's just a talent. I got to watch some of his stuff this offseason, but very impressed with Florida battling, fighting last night. But, God, what a season for Florida State. Man, Aaron Castle, I feel for you, man. I've got to shout out to you, and I got to shout out to William Anthony, who I know. I used to work out with him at Max Fitness back in the day. He's a huge Florida State guy. Went there, both military guys, and thank you. But just embarrassing for that program, for Florida. And Florida State better get their shit together. I don't know if Mike Norvell is going to go. I would not fire Mike Norvell. He's a really good coach who's just had a shitty year. It happens in coaching. It happens in life, and it happens in sports. So that's all I want to get on here today and mention to you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Hit the like, subscribe, share button. Christmas is coming right around the corner. We're 24 days away. God help us. I got my Christmas movie marathon I got to hit. But stay tuned throughout the week. Got a lot more content coming out. And talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.